I thought I had it all figured out. 20 years, that's how long we'd been married. 20 years of building something I believed was unshakable. We met when we were 23, two kids who didn't know anything about life except that we wanted to face it together. She had this laugh that could fill a room, this way of looking at me like I was the only person who mattered. I fell hard. We both did. The wedding came fast, 6 months after we met. Everyone said we were rushing, that we were too young, that we didn't know what we were doing. But we didn't care. We were in love, and that felt like enough. Then came the kids. First our son, 17 now, tall and quiet like me. Then our daughter, 15, sharp-tongued and fiercely protective of the people she loves. They were everything. And I worked my ass off to give them everything, too. I climbed the corporate ladder, pulled 60-hour weeks, missed soccer games and dance recitals because someone had to pay for the 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, the private school tuition, the family vacations to Disney and the beach. I wanted them to have what I didn't growing up: stability, comfort, opportunity. And I wanted her to have the life she deserved. She never had to work a single day. She stayed home, raised the kids, kept the house. That was the deal. That was our life. And I thought she was happy. I thought we were happy. But somewhere along the way, things shifted. It was subtle at first, so subtle I convinced myself I was imagining it. She stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings, stopped asking about my day, started spending more time on her phone, always angled away from me, always quick to lock the screen when I walked by. When I'd reach for her hand, she'd pull away. When I'd suggest a date night, she'd sigh and say she was tired. I told myself it was just a phase. Marriage gets monotonous after 20 years, right? We weren't 23 anymore. We had responsibilities, stress, kids who needed us. Maybe she was just overwhelmed. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Maybe I needed to try harder. So when she came to me on a Tuesday evening and said she needed a break, I didn't hesitate. A girl's trip, she called it, speaking softly as we sat on the couch. Her and a few close friends heading up to some resort town a couple hours away for the weekend. She said she was feeling burnt out, suffocated by the routine, that she needed to reconnect with herself. She needed space to breathe, to remember who she was outside of being a wife and a mother. "I just need some me time," she said, her voice soft and pleading. "Just a weekend, please." I didn't even think twice. "Of course," I told her. "You should go, you deserve a break." I encouraged it. I wanted to be the supportive husband, the understanding partner who didn't make her feel guilty for needing a break. I even helped her pack that Thursday night. That Friday morning, she kissed the kids goodbye, gave me a quick hug, and walked out the door with her suitcase and a smile on her face. I stood in the driveway and watched her drive away, telling myself this was good for her, good for us. I had no idea. I just watched my wife leave to spend the weekend with another man. That Friday night, I sat on the couch with the kids, scrolling through takeout menus, trying to fill the strange emptiness that had settled over the house. She'd only been gone a few hours, but something felt off. Wrong. I kept glancing at my phone, waiting for a text that never came. The kids didn't seem to notice. My son was upstairs gaming with his friends. My daughter was curled up beside me, half watching some reality show, half scrolling through her own phone. I told myself I was being paranoid. She was fine. She was with her friends. She was recharging. But deep down, in a place I didn't want to acknowledge, I knew something had changed. I just didn't know how bad it was yet. Saturday dragged. I woke up to an empty bed, made breakfast for the kids, tried to distract myself with chores and errands. But my mind kept wandering back to her. Was she having fun? Was she thinking about us? Did she miss me at all? By mid-afternoon, the kids were getting restless. My daughter was sprawled on the couch complaining about being bored. My son had been in his room all day. The house felt too quiet, too still. I was scrolling through my phone for the 100th time when the idea hit me. Why not surprise her? It seemed perfect. Romantic, even. I'd drive up to the resort with the kids, bring flowers, maybe take her out to dinner. Show her I cared. Show her I was thinking about her. Maybe it would remind her of the early days when I used to surprise her all the time. "Hey," I called out to the kids. "How would you guys feel about taking a drive up to see Mom?" My daughter's face lit up. "Really? Like surprise her?" she asked excitedly. "Yeah, what do you think?" I replied. "Yes, she's gonna freak out," she said, already off the couch, running upstairs to tell her brother. Within 20 minutes, we were in the car. The kids were excited, buzzing with anticipation in the backseat. My son kept joking about how shocked she'd be. My daughter was already planning what she'd say when she saw her. I felt good, proud even. I was doing something thoughtful, something unexpected. I was being the kind of husband who didn't take his wife for granted. The 2-hour drive passed quickly. We talked, laughed, listened to music. For the first time in weeks, things felt normal, like we were a family again. We pulled into the resort parking lot around 5 o'clock. The place was upscale, stone facades, manicured gardens, a lobby with floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked a lake. I parked near the entrance and turned to the kids. "Wait here for a second," I told them. "Let me find out what room she's in and then we'll go surprise her." They nodded, still grinning. I walked through the sliding glass doors into the lobby. Soft jazz played overhead. The lighting was dim and warm, designed to feel intimate, luxurious. I scanned the space, looking for the front desk when I saw her. She was standing near the bar, with a man. At first, I didn't process it. My brain couldn't make sense of what I was seeing. Maybe it was one of her friends' husbands. Maybe they'd all decided to bring their partners last minute. Maybe. Then she leaned into him. His arm slid around her waist, pulling her close. She tilted her head up toward him, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. And then she kissed him. Not a polite peck, not an accidental brush of lips. A real kiss. Deep, familiar. The kind of kiss that comes from intimacy, from history, from something far beyond a drunken mistake. The world stopped. I couldn't hear the music anymore. Couldn't hear the conversations around me. All I could hear was the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears, loud and violent, like it was trying to break through my chest. My fists clenched, my vision narrowed. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to move, to charge across that lobby, to rip him away from her and destroy him, to make him feel a fraction of the pain that was tearing through me in that moment. I took a step forward. Then I heard my daughter's voice behind me. "Dad," she called out. I froze. I turned around. She was standing in the doorway, my son right behind her, and they'd seen it. Both of them. Their faces said everything. My daughter's eyes were wide, filling with tears. My son's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. "Dad," my daughter whispered again, her voice breaking. "That's Mom." Something inside me snapped. Not into rage, into something colder, sharper, more focused. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera, and started recording. My hands were steady. I zoomed in just enough to capture her face, his face, the way their bodies fit together, the way she laughed at something he said. 30 seconds. That's all I needed. Then I turned to my kids. "Let's go," I said quietly. My daughter grabbed my arm. "Dad, wait, we should," she started to say. "We're leaving now," I cut her off. I didn't look back. I walked out of that lobby with my head high and my jaw set, my kids trailing behind me in stunned silence. The 2-hour drive home was the longest of my life. My daughter cried quietly in the backseat, her face pressed against the window. My son stared straight ahead, saying nothing, his hands balled into fists on his lap. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white, my mind racing with images I couldn't unsee. Her, him, the kiss, the smile, the ease of it all like I didn't exist, like 20 years meant nothing. When we finally pulled into the driveway, I turned off the engine and sat there for a moment, staring at the dark house. Then I looked at my kids in the rearview mirror. "I'm filing for divorce," I said quietly. "I'm not letting her do this to us." My daughter wiped her eyes and nodded. My son looked at me, his voice low and hard. "Good," he said. "What?" I didn't sleep that night. While my kids were upstairs, my daughter crying herself to sleep, my son locked in his room with his headphones on, I sat in my home office with my laptop open and my mind on fire. She was still at the resort, still with him. She had no idea I knew, no idea I'd seen her, no idea the clock had just started ticking on the end of her comfortable life. And I was going to use every second of her ignorance to my advantage. First, money. I logged into our joint bank accounts, the ones I'd been depositing my paychecks into for 20 years. Every dollar in there had come from me. My work, my sacrifice, my 60-hour weeks and missed family dinners. She hadn't contributed a cent. I transferred everything, every last dollar, into a new account in my name only, checking, savings, the emergency fund, gone. Then I moved to the credit cards. I called each company, removed her as an authorized user, canceled Ev. Every card she had access to. Within 2 hours, she was financially cut off. If she tried to buy so much as a coffee Sunday morning, the card would decline. I wanted her to feel it immediately. I wanted her to panic. Second, legal protection. I wasn't going to make a single move without covering myself. Early Sunday morning, before the sun came up, I called a divorce attorney a colleague had recommended, someone known for being ruthless and thorough. I left a message. He called me back within an hour. "I need an emergency consultation," I told him. "Monday morning, first thing." "What's the situation?" he asked. My wife's having an affair. I have video evidence, and I want full custody of my kids, I answered. There was a pause, then he replied, I'll see you at 8 a.m. I spent the rest of Sunday documenting everything. I uploaded the video to a secure cloud folder. I wrote down the timeline, when she left on Friday morning, where she went, who she said she was with. I pulled up our financial records, showing years of me supporting her while she contributed nothing. I screenshotted her text messages from Friday morning, the ones where she'd told me she loved me and would miss us. Every detail, every lie, every piece of evidence I'd need to bury her in court. Sunday afternoon, I sat down with my kids. We gathered in the living room, the three of us, and for the first time since Saturday, I let myself see the damage. My daughter's eyes were swollen and red. My son looked hollow, like something essential had been carved out of him. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I began. What you saw yesterday, that was real. Your mom had an affair, she lied to us, and I'm ending the marriage. My daughter's lip trembled. What about us? She asked softly. I'm going to fight for full custody, I told her. You won't be forced to see her if you don't want to. You won't be forced into a relationship with her. That's your choice. I don't want to see her, my son said, his voice flat and cold. Not ever. My daughter hesitated, then nodded. I don't either, not right now, she added quietly. I pulled them both into a hug. They held on tight, and for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt something other than rage. I felt purpose. I was going to protect them, no matter what it took. All weekend, her phone stayed silent. No calls, no texts, too busy with her lover to check in on her family. But Sunday night around 9 o'clock, my phone finally rang. Her name lit up the screen. I stared at it for a long moment, letting it ring. Then I answered. Hey babe, she said brightly, her voice cheerful, like nothing was wrong. Just calling to say hi, I miss you guys, how are the kids? My jaw tightened. I could hear the lie in her voice, the performance. I kept my tone calm, measured. I'm glad you're having fun, I replied. Because I brought the kids up there yesterday to surprise you. Silence. And we saw you, I continued. We saw you kissing him. More silence. Then frantically she stammered, Wait, what? No, babe, that wasn't. I don't know what you think you saw, but... I recorded it, I cut her off. I have video, the kids saw it too. They're done with you. Her voice cracked. Please let me explain, she begged. There's nothing to explain, I said coldly. I've canceled all the cards, I've pulled my money out of the accounts. I've already spoken to a lawyer, don't bother coming home. You can't do this, she cried, her words tumbling over each other. Please, just listen to me. I just did. Goodbye, I said and hung up. 10 seconds later, my phone started buzzing with texts. I ignored the first few, then I opened them. Please, you don't understand. It was a mistake. I was confused. It didn't mean anything. You didn't see what you think you saw. That wasn't me. I stared at that last message for a long moment. Then I opened the video. I hit send. Her response came a minute later. No more texts after that. What? Monday morning, 8 a.m. sharp, I walked into the law office. The attorney was exactly what I'd hoped for, mid-50s, sharp suit, no-nonsense expression. He shook my hand, gestured to a chair, and got straight to business. Show me what you have, he said. I pulled out my phone and played the video. He watched without expression, his eyes focused, professional. When it ended, he leaned back in his chair and nodded. This is clean, clear, undeniable, he said. You've got everything you need. What about custody? I asked. With this evidence and your financial contribution to the household, full custody is very likely, he explained. Especially if the kids are old enough to express their preference to the judge. How old are they? 17 and 15, I answered. Perfect, he replied. At those ages, their voices carry significant weight. If they don't want to see her, the court will respect that. Relief washed over me. How fast can we move? I asked. I'll file the paperwork today. He said, she'll be served by the end of the week, but I need to warn you. He leaned forward, his expression serious. She's going to fight this. She's going to beg, manipulate, maybe even threaten. Stay strong. Don't engage emotionally. Let me handle it. I nodded. I'm ready, I told him. That evening, I was in the kitchen with the kids when the front door opened. She walked in around 6 o'clock, looking like she'd been through hell. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were red and swollen. She'd clearly driven straight back from the resort after realizing her cards didn't work and her bank accounts were empty. The three of us were sitting at the table, eating dinner. No one looked at her. Please, she said, her voice trembling. Please let me explain. I didn't turn around. I didn't even look up from my plate. "There's nothing to explain," I said flatly. She took a step closer. "It was a mistake. I was stupid. I don't love him. I love you. I love this family," she pleaded. My daughter looked up at her, and for the first time I saw real anger in her eyes. "You kissed him, Mom," she said sharply. "We saw you." My wife's face crumpled. She reached for my daughter's hand. "Sweetie, please," she began. My daughter pulled away. "Don't touch me," she said coldly. My son kept eating, his eyes fixed on his plate, refusing to even acknowledge her presence. She turned to me, desperate now. "What do you want me to do?" she asked frantically. "I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll cut him off completely. I want a divorce," I interrupted, my voice like ice. "I've already filed. You'll be served the papers by the end of this week." Her breath hitched. "You can't take my kids from me," she protested. "They don't want you," I stated. "Ask them yourself." She looked at my daughter, then my son. Both of them refused to meet her eyes. "Get out," I said quietly. "Where am I supposed to go?" she cried. "I don't have any money. You took everything." I finally turned to look at her. "You should have thought of that before you decided to mess with someone else," I said bluntly. The bluntness of it shocked her into silence. She stood there, trembling, mascara streaking down her face, looking like a stranger. "This is cruel," she whispered. "No," I replied quietly. "This is justice." She left that night. I heard later she stayed with one of her friends, one of the same friends who'd been on the girls' trip. But within days, word spread. The friend's husband found out about the affair and was furious his wife had enabled it. My wife was kicked out again. She tried calling her lover. He blocked her. Turns out he was in it for the thrill, not the consequences. She was alone. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. I got full custody. The judge listened to my kids, heard their voices, their pain, their choice, and ruled in my favor. She was granted supervised visitation, but only if the kids agreed to see her. They didn't. She lost the house, lost the lifestyle, lost everything she'd taken for granted for 20 years. Because she'd never worked a day in her life, she had no resume, no skills, no marketable experience. She ended up in a small apartment an hour away, working as a cashier at a grocery store. Minimum wage, no benefits, no safety net. Her friends distanced themselves. Her family was disappointed. Her lover had vanished the moment things got real. She'd become a cautionary tale, the woman who threw away a good marriage for a weekend fling. Meanwhile, I focused on my kids. We started family therapy. My daughter slowly began to heal, though some nights I still heard her crying in her room. My son threw himself into basketball, channeling his anger into something productive. They didn't talk about their mother much. When they did, it was with a strange mix of anger and indifference. She'd become a ghost in their lives. As for me, I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. I'd done what I had to do, protected my kids, stood up for myself, refused to be disrespected. But the marriage I thought I had, the life I thought I'd built, had been a lie, and that realization haunted me more than the affair itself. How long had she been unhappy? How long had she been planning this? Had she ever really loved me, or had I just been convenient, a provider, a safety net, someone to build a life with while she waited for something better? I'd never know, and I'd stopped asking. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, she called me. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Her voice was small, broken. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she said quietly, "for everything." I didn't respond right away. Then quietly I replied, "I know." "Do you think," she hesitated, "do you think the kids will ever forgive me?" she asked. "I don't know," I answered honestly. "That's up to them." She started crying. "I ruined everything," she sobbed. "Yes," I said simply, "you did." She hung up. I sat there in my living room, staring at the phone, thinking about the 20 years we'd spent together. The good times, the bad times, the moment it all fell apart. I didn't regret what I did, but I didn't feel good about it either. I just felt finished. People ask me if I regret how I handled it, if I think I was too harsh, if I should have given her a second chance. The answer is no. She didn't cheat on me once in a moment of weakness. She planned it. She lied. She packed her bags, kissed our kids goodbye, and spent a weekend with another man. And when I caught her, she didn't confess. She denied it. She gaslit me. She only admitted the truth when I showed her the video. That's not a mistake, that's a choice. So no, I don't feel bad. I protected my kids. I protected myself. And I made sure she understood that actions have consequences. She lost everything because she gambled everything. And she lost. I'm not the villain in this story. I'm just the man who refused to be a fool. I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone again. Maybe I won't. Maybe this broke something in me that can't be fixed. But I know one thing, I'll never let anyone disrespect me like that again. And neither should you. If someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't make excuses, don't rationalize, don't convince yourself it'll get better. It won't. Some bridges once burned can never be rebuilt, and some people don't deserve a second chance. I learned that the hard way, but I learned it. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.